in this group today and have this conversation with you guys. But before we continue, let me correct you on a very small detail about being an officer. I'm not fully there yet. I'm working with them as a voluntary right now till I finish my academy, of course. And there's a lot of this and that I have to pass, and I have to basically overcome those issues before, because there's a lot of problems, and I have to basically overcome all those stuff before I can actually be considered as a full level 1 officer. So let me just correct you on that one. I just don't want to give any wrong information out there. So back to the music. What was the question again, if you could please ask me?
Yeah, so I kind of wanted to know علاقتون برای موسیقی از کی شروع شده؟ اگه کسی بوده که kind of motivated کرده برین to feel the موسیقی, or
sure. Would you rather me respond to it in Farsi or
whatever
English?
you're comfortable with.
Whatever you want me to. I mean, I know your audience. Okay. من علاقم به موسیقی از سن میتونم بگم 10 سالگی 10-11 سالگی از ایران شروع شد و همینطور ادامه دادم و اومدم به اروپا. بعد از اینکه درسم رو در کشور نروژ تموم کردم رفتم به لندن و موو کردم، رفتم لندن و در لندن اونجا مشغول کار هنری شدم و سال 1998 آمدم به لس آنجلس و اینجا ادامه دادم کارم رو و با اولین آلبومم که حدوداً یه چند ماهی طول کشید، 6 ماهی طول کشید تا این آلبوم رو بتونم ضبط کنم و اوایل سال 1999 فکر میکنم فوریه 99 بود که آلبوم قطره باران رو برای اولین بار دادیم به مارکت. So that was my start.
And you've been really successful in that. And a follow-up I have for that question is, what changed for you when you had your first song that became a hit? Is there a pressure that develops to continue that success, or does the
100%? I would say that for sure. Yes. Obviously, when I realized that my first album or my first song, which was called Qatre Baran, became all of a sudden it became very successful among all the Persians and the whole Persian music community, and that gave me a big drive to continue with my second album and so on, with my third and fourth album. So basically, it was kind of, I would like to call it an approval and basically a green light for me being accepted and respected by the Persian community, which was a big success for me at that age. And I believe anyone else at that age would feel the same. That was a big achievement for me.
Yeah, and you've been really successful with that. And I always say you're one of the most respectable Persian artists. You've kept like a clean image compared to many artists.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
That's something I kind of want to go into a little bit. How do you think as an artist is your responsibility to present yourself to your fans, whether on social media, in person? How should like رفتارتون باید چطوری باشه با طرفداراتون؟
Besides being an artist and have a big responsibility as an artist for your own community, whether it's Persian or any other community, I believe prior to that, before all of that, as a human being, we all have responsibility in life starts from my own family and my surrounding, my friends and people that I know that I do have some sort of effect on them, or younger cousins or people in school, or generally in my life, that they would maybe look up to me as a person, as a human being. And of course, adding to that, being an artist is not going to make it any easier. So as a Persian artist, I've always, as you mentioned it yourself earlier, I've always try to carry on with me that responsibility and make sure that I do deliver a clean, healthy lifestyle next to my music, and obviously that's going to include my behavior as well toward my fans and people that love me or listen, I mean, to my music. So obviously it's not something easy, I would say. If anything, it takes a lot of work and
Commitment.
a commitment, exactly. And it's super, super hard, to be honest, because eventually uh, the pressure of the work itself and the pressure of people's opinions or a point of view towards you as an artist will give you a lot of doubts sometimes, whether you should act differently, or you should keep remaining, be the same person. So obviously you gotta have to deal with ups and downs, and good days and bad days, and good comments and bad comments, and good reviews and bad reviews, and it's not easy. So you gotta have to have some sort of a good confidence about your behavior and your lifestyle, and every move that you make, so you be able to continue with what you believe it's right, and with what you believe it's the correct way of doing it.
Yeah, and you've done a very good job at that, especially on social media. But that's kind of a perfect segue into my question regarding comments, because especially in the music business, I'm sure there's a lot of unfortunate negative comments after
Unfortunately.
for anything you do, especially after releasing a song or album sometimes. How به نظرتون چه like trait هایی کسی که میخواد بیاد تو این business بعد داشته باشه to deal with the negativity or whatever it might be?
Well, my advice to those younger, uh, uh, teenagers, or whoever wants to actually become an artist in Persian market, considering Persian market, I would definitely give them the advice of first of all, they have to build up this very strong confidence and personality in order to avoid all those negative energies that they might get sometimes from fans and from enemies. Obviously, when you become the bigger of a person you become, the more famous of a person you become, the more enemies you're gonna create. And obviously, and unfortunately, we do have a lot of that in our Persian community. And so the biggest item in this job or in this career, I would say they gotta have to build up their personality, strong personality, before they even sign up for this. Because if they get carried away with negativity, then they're just gonna obviously be destroyed throughout the time. So it's very important that they do believe in themselves, and they do believe in what they do, and do it the right way, and do not listen to your surroundings. Always basically know what you're doing and stick with it.
So does this negativity that you're talking about develop also into a pressure, whether it be to release what's considered hot in the market right now, or how do you keep true to what you want to release in your music? Or
I would say that negativity follows me every single day, every day, all day, since the morning when I wake up. Sometimes I get on my social media, on my Instagram, my Facebook, and obviously not everyone is going to love Pouya, not everyone is going to love my work. So there are going to be a lot of negative comments, a lot of profanity, a lot of mean and disrespectful comments, I would say, which obviously most of it I know where they come from, and I just block them. I just basically, when I say I block them, I do I don't mean like I block them from my social media. I block them basically up here. I block them in my vision. I block them in my head
Mentality.
and in my mentality. Exactly. I do not give them that satisfaction to think that they can actually push me around or get me off of the track. And I try to, have my good faith and continue with all the good energies that I get from my real fans. But that's something that I have to deal with every day. And trust me, at the end of the night, when I come home or when I'm actually off work, I gotta have to somehow release it and reset myself mentally and physically in order to be able to have the drive to get up and do the same over and over again next morning and the next day after that and next week after that.
Do you think that this is going to get worse as newer songs, newer artists keep coming out, or do you think it's just up to the artist to block it out, like you said, mentality?
No, 100%. It's going to even become worse as we move on in the future, because I believe the way I look at it, the way I see it, based on my experience, I'll see it as a lot of. I mean, when I started it, it wasn't as much competition as it is these days. So obviously, the more competition, it's going to be the more problems and issues that you're going to have to deal with. So now, obviously, it's not going to get any easier. If anything, it's going to get harder. If anything, the mafia of the music, the people who likes to run it, the people who likes to play the game with all the artists, those people, which usually people don't see, the regular normal people, they don't see them. They are behind the curtains, behind the walls, running the show. Obviously, they are not going to make it any easier for the artist. So this young artist, when they decide to like become an artist and work in the Persian market, they gotta have to know that they're dealing with a big time mafia of the music, which you're gonna have to pay your dues. And obviously, not everyone would be able to pay those dues, because simply they're just asking for too much. They're gonna destroy you mentally and physically before they let you become famous. And obviously, when you're a female, it's way harder. And when you are a male, obviously, it's harder on its own way. So you're going to have to be very, very strong in every aspect, financially and mentally and emotionally.
So what you just said about it being harder for females versus males, is that something you think in the Persian market that it's dominated by males mostly, and it's still very old-fashioned, I would say?
Yes, unfortunately, it is, and for females, it's super hard, and unfortunately, they take a lot of advantage of the female artists, and it's just horrible.
I can imagine all the drama happening behind the scenes and how hard it must be. But going back, you were talking about competition existing. So now that social media is bigger than when you started, do you think it's easier for someone to be recognized because of everyone on social media, or harder because of the amount of talent there is? Like, چجوری کلاً social media market music رو affect کرده؟
Well, unfortunately, even our social media, whether it's a Persian social media or overall in the international social media, which I would say that the Persian or smaller markets or countries' social medias, they take after the bigger social medias, which is the international one or the American one. And obviously, we are talking about the biggest one, which is Instagram these days, and the most strongest one. And that's also mostly viewed in Persian market, obviously. whether they have easier access to Instagram, whether they're just more attracted to the Instagram. But the issue is the mafia even runs the Instagram social media in Iran as well, or even sometimes in LA. So basically they have found a way to make business even with social media, meaning that, okay, take me for instance, if Pouya wants to become more famous, if he wants to be heard more by more people, then he's going to have to pay. I mean, now you get to choose either you want to pay the Instagram for more to put you more out there in the market, or whether you want to put, you give, some certain amount of money to some groups or companies or mafia of the music to put you out there and to do some more advertisements for you out there. Marketing for you, exactly. So unfortunately, even the social media is very corrupted. So that means if you do have loads of money, you can become very famous overnight, versus someone maybe with a true talent. They might not be financially strong, and they're just going to be sitting behind the doors and waiting forever in hope that someone might have, discovered them, or, maybe they get picked by some agencies or some, TV shows. And yep.
Would that be like an example of the whole Instagram verification thing? Like I would use your social media as an example. Someone with a great voice, like someone truly respectable, versus someone with, I would say maybe less talent, or maybe that might not be the best way to put it.
I mean, that's, continuing talking about it, I would like to basically point out that even the Eastern market, which is the American market, I mean, we do have some sort of culture with us throughout our lifestyle. We do still have some sort of respect for our culture and our behavior. But in American market, obviously, everything is surrounded and affected by whether it's the sexuality of a content or some subject, or nudity, or anything that has everything to do beside the talent of a person. So obviously someone like myself, I'm not going to give anyone else as an example due to respect to everyone. I'm just going to give myself as a respect. I have tried many times throughout the years to get my verification for my Instagram page, and unfortunately, for some reasons, which I'm actually going to tell you, they're asking me for like $10,000, $15,000 for a verification badge. And it's not about the money. It's not that I don't have that kind of money. I would easily be able to pay that. But then again, who am I fooling? Really, I'm fooling myself. Who am I actually trying to convince? I mean, after all, if I do pay $10,000 or $15,000 or $20,000 for a blue badge verification on Instagram, I believe, based on my mentality, that would be the stupidest move I've ever made in my life. I mean, someone else is making money out of my talent. Why would
it's buying your marketing for when
exactly.
You should be earned. It
exactly.
Shouldn't be something to buy.
It should be respected and earned. And versus you see maybe a younger female where they take shots and pictures topless, and unfortunately the media is going to pay so much attention to that, and all of a sudden, before you know, they make a public figure, which honestly I've never understood the real meaning of public figure. What is a public figure? I mean, showing around your naked body, not that only is you're gonna lose people are gonna lose respect for you, but then again, what kind of benefit is that for public figure? I mean, what is it that exactly you're trying to teach people? When you show yourself topless, and then all of a sudden, less than 24 hours, you have 3 million, 4 million followers, and then you have a blue badge verification. And that's just,
and that completely makes sense because, well, it doesn't make sense, but it's the unfortunate reality of the world we live in. And that kind of goes back to what I was talking about before with like how you play a clean, respectable image and the duties of an artist in the market.
that's true.
Yeah. So I want to go to when you're in the process of writing a song, how do you personally know when you're happy with the song to release, or can a track ever be flawless, as they say?
A track could be flawless, as they say, but it takes a lot of time. And you're going to have to live with that track for maybe 6 months, even sometimes more, sometimes less. It all depends. But when it comes to myself, I usually go with my feelings, and usually my feelings don't lie to me. My feelings always make sense to me, to myself. And when I'm happy with the track, when I listen to it, to my own track over and over again, and if it doesn't bother me, usually it doesn't bother my listeners either. And I would say a flawless work or recording will always, show throughout the time. It would stay there for years and years, and that's how you get to find out whether you have done a flawless work or not. So it takes a little bit of time and patient before you realize whether your work has been uh, you know flawless or not.
Yeah, and is that like kind of like how some people release albums maybe once every 2, 3 years because they're waiting for that feelings, as you said, to hit?
100%. The big artists and the ones that are actually very responsible, they're very picky. They go they go out there, they do their research, and they take their sweet time to create a new track. And once they do, I can mention names like, our superstar Moin, our superstar Dariush, or Kugush, or Abi, which I'm sure you're familiar with. They're not in rush to give out any tracks unless they know they do have a track that will come out and stay there for good, and create a lot of memories and good feelings for people.
So in your creative process, when you're looking for maybe inspiration or the feelings that you were talking about, are there any activities that you like to do outside of music that contribute to that? I see you camp a lot. Maybe that's one of them.
I do. Honestly, a lot of people think that I do camping for fun. Yes, I do. 50% of it is for fun, and the second 50% of it, it's to reset myself, to keep myself mentally healthy and one with nature, and one with health, and one with being a good, decent human being. So camping means a lot to me. Camping means a lot of different things to me, and so that's one way for me to release all the bad energies and negativity out of myself, and just keep, basically I filter myself, and camping is one of that, and working out is another thing, and so on and on.
So now I kind of want to transition into my second segment, the recent choice you've made to, as you said, start your training as a officer one.
Level 1 officer, which is a full time, yes.
So how do you manage now to balance both of these professions, whether it be studio time, LAPD, concerts, tours? Is it more difficult now, as I could imagine?
Well, to be honest with you, my first business and my first source of income, it's gas stations. So basically, I'm in a gas station business, and that's where my main income is, and that's how I make living. So music has basically been, for the past 10 years, just been a big, expensive hobby. So it's just something that actually you don't make any money out of this in Persian market, because you just have to spend and spend and spend a lot of thousands of dollars without receiving anything. So I wouldn't say, like, that's a job. that's an hobby. But how do I manage all that stuff between the gas stations and the music and the studio and working on my LAPD stuff? It's just, takes a lot of courage, and it takes a lot of I would say drive for you to realize that beside the point that you should never leave all the eggs in one basket, as they say, meaning that you gotta have to be successful in a lot of different jobs or careers. If you can, if you see that level of energy in you, and if you see that much of drive in you, and you're patient enough, then age or the location of where you live or the time of the year, it's not going to be an issue. You're going to have to keep trying and punching till you get where you want, and you win. Of course, it's not going to be easy to manage all of them at the same time, but again, sometimes I just sleep 3 or 4 hours per night, and I get up in the morning. Usually I go to bed like really, really early on the evenings, and I try to get up early in the morning as well, so I can actually use my daylight to do something that it's actually to create something, to build up something.
So I don't know if it's part of the training anymore, but the police academy, I can imagine it has a lot of physical components to it. How do you personally train for them? What's been
It
helpful for
does.
you?
It does. Basically, actually, that's the main issue right now, because obviously over years and years of living the artist lifestyle, obviously, which is not an healthy lifestyle. It's going to be a lot of late nights, a lot of late shows, and after shows, there's a lot of after parties and late night sleeping, unhealthy hotel foods, a lot of traveling. Overall, that it's not a healthy lifestyle, I would say. As they say, it's like a rock star, lifestyle. So obviously that has been an issue for me, as far as me putting some few pounds here and there. I've gained a little bit of weight. So becoming an LAPD officer, you gotta have to be able to do a lot of running. So as of right now, I'm working on losing weight and do a lot of running, and that's what's been holding me back. And the second thing that is kind of pushing me a little bit back, or making me to think twice to become a full-time officer. Obviously, I'm going to try to at least to be in reserve, if not a full one, for sure a reserve one. And that's because I love to serve, and I love to take care of the community and help for the community to become a better place for everyone else to live. But obviously there is a lot of things that you gotta have to overcome, and you have to pass a lot of tests. Physical tests are very hard. I gotta have to be able to do a lot of push-ups and sit-ups, and obviously running is the main one. They give you a certain time to do a certain miles under that certain minutes. So if you don't do that, then obviously you're not going to pass the physical. And as I said, I'm not giving up. I'm trying every day, and so far I'm working with the Van Nuys division in the Valley, and so far it's been a it's been an honor. It's been a privilege to work with them. I've gained a lot of experience, and even if I do not succeed, I still have learned a lot of good things from the law enforcement, and how they operate, and how it works. And I'm sure I can use those experiences in my life in the future.
So now I have a couple questions that were sent to me by others, if you don't mind me asking them.
Of course, sure.
And I just want to put out there that Zoom gives me a time limit. So if the meeting does end, I'm sorry for that.
No
But
worries.
I just wanted to thank you if that happens for joining. But someone asked me, out of all of your songs, which one is the most meaningful to you and why?
Uh, Honestly, I would say I wouldn't say, you know how they are to say all of my songs. It means a lot to me, but no, it's because some of the songs I've done, I've recorded, and I've released it's because of the market, which means
Pressure.
at a certain time and a certain mood, I would say, okay, this is what market wants, and this is what the teenagers or my fans wants to listen to, or this is what they want to have, and that's what I'm going to release.
That kind
But
of what I
the
was saying is like being hot in the market before.
exactly, 100%. And but there are some songs, or majority of my songs, which I basically have to go with my own feelings, which I mentioned it earlier. Those are all of those songs. They really mean a lot to me. They all of them, every single one of them, they have a different meaning to me, because they've been in a different chapter of my life. They've been with me through good days, dark days, and happy days, and they have made a solid, confident artist out of me. But if I have to absolutely mention, obviously Qatre Baran, which is my first song, it means a lot to me, because that is my um, birth mark, basically. That is the first song that that was the birthday of my singing career. And I have another song that called Fasele, which means distance. That also means a lot to me. And yes, I do have few songs that
More than a
means a
few.
lot to me. Yes, yeah, I do have. Actually, I've recorded more than 100 songs, 100 tracks. So, and in total, I would say it's more than six albums, 7 albums. So
And all of them are exceptionally good in my opinion.
thank you.
Yeah. So these songs that you have released, have any other, like whether they be American artists, Persian artists, have they influenced the way your music and your style? Have they influenced it at all?
Mm, I'm so sorry. I had a hard time understanding it. What is it again? What was the question
Um,
again?
any other artists, have they influenced your style of whether it be
Oh,
your music? Yeah,
Persian or Americans or
any.
overall? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, obviously, before I started it, I did have uh, idols in Persian market and American market. Obviously, um, as far as my kind of style, I've always had a huge respect and a lot of respect for the artist Moin, which I would say he was the beginner, the first person of creating this style of music that I'm doing right now. So a lot of respect to him, which I look up to him as my master, and someone who has taught me a lot in order to continue and carry this style. And in American market, I've always liked George Michael for some reason. I don't know why, which a lot of teenagers might not be familiar with him, because that's from my time. Elton John, obviously, is Prince. A lot of good artists, solid artists. So I can't say just I have taken from one artist only. Obviously, I've watched and I've listened to a lot of good artists throughout the years, and I've taken good items from each and individual one of them.
They've all played a different aspect in your music,
Of
essentially, in
course.
positive ways. So from there, I want to know, what realization did you have when you entered this industry, positive or negative, whatever it may be? Did anything become a truth to you that maybe it wasn't seen before?
Yes. When I entered this industry, I was only 23 years old, and now I'm 46 years. So I've been in the business long enough to experience and realize what's going on. Um, I mean, answer to your question, um, to begin with, it was all positive. If you ask me today whether I would, if I could turn the time back and do it all over again, would I do the same thing again? No, I wouldn't. I mean, even right now, I'm kind of stuck in it because, I have created such a big amount of, you know, fans that I do feel
You don't want to give it up.
responsible. Exactly, I don't want to give it up, and I feel like I'm forced to, uh, you know, give them the music that they want to hear from me. And but would I do it over again if I had the chance? No, I wouldn't, just because simply there's so much negativity in this industry, and so much hate, and so much uh, unfairness, that as a superstar or as a star, if you are an emotional person, which you should be, as a star, you should definitely be more sensitive toward everything, and that's how you create something magical, as beautiful as music. So I would say, I've been hurt enough to realize that if I would turn time back and do it all over again, I would definitely find myself another hobby, or if I may call it a job, or source of income, or whatever you want
Is
to
the
call it.
police hobby kind of becoming that second job? You're looking for an escape route?
You know what? To begin with, I did look at it as an escape out of the music industry, but unfortunately, when I got into it, I realized that that's even worse, because for the amount of danger and risk that you take out there as an officer, the pay is never enough, and not to mention that today people have no respect for law enforcement whatsoever,
Mhm.
and there is no respect. There's a lot of um, crime going on out there, and it's a crazy world. And you just don't want to get involved with this, because although this is what you sign up for, but you just don't believe that it can be that bad, or to that extent, that you realize that, okay, what about me, what about my family, what about my health, what about at the end of the night, you want to go home to your kids and to your family, and you want to try to survive. So that's another thing that I wouldn't recommend anyone to join it unless they absolutely had to.
And that's kind of a perfect segue, because especially with like the whole police, like Blue Lives Matter and all of that, that's come up in the past year. What's your opinion on police responsibility, whether it be from the George Floyd trial or whatever has happened recently?
Well, I mean, I don't know whether I'm the right person to ask this question, but because me personally, I'm all about supporting Blue Lives, and because I've been in the industry, I've been in the business, I see what they do, hands down. I do have a lot of respect for our officers, and the fire department, and whoever is the hospital person, nurses, and everyone, that first responders, they're doing such a great job, and it's such a hard job that, honestly, if people would only realize that how hard it is to deal with
Realize.
this. Hello,
Uh,
are you there?
yeah,
Sorry.
I am. I think
Yeah.
Khaled and I just mic took over, but
Oh, okay, yeah. So if you realize, those first responders, they're doing such a, wonderful, beautiful, meaningful job, that they're risking their own lives to save your life as someone else. They should respect them so much more. And now that I've seen it, I have completely a different view on everything, and I 100% I support the Blue Lives. I'm a big time supporter, more than anyone, I would say. And as far as George Floyd thing, or any other situation that we see tons of them, George Floyd was one of the thousand situations and or incidents that came and it became viral. But we see way worse than that every day, and unfortunately, there is always maybe one or few bad decisions out there from the officer's side that will basically backfire on the rest of them, which are the
From the whole world.
exactly good people, versus people don't see the biggest crime being done by a lot of people, regardless of their color or religion or nationality. But there is always one victim that
Ruins it
makes
for
it
everyone.
exactly for everyone, and all of a sudden what they're expecting is that to let them do whatever they want to do, because obviously their lives matter. And it's not only Black lives matter, it's Chinese lives matter, Persian lives matter, Armenian lives matter, everyone lives matter, all color. I respect that, and it just shouldn't be like that.
So that's actually a perfect segue into what tips would you give on how to react with officers so they don't become that one person, unfortunately?
Just first thing, respect them when they give you commands and when they give you orders. You gotta have to comply with it, and do not resist. Do not try to fight back. Do not try to act smart about it. The calmer you keep it, the better it is. The better result is for you, whether you are a suspect or not. The process is going to be way easier, because at the end of the day, they gotta have to go home to their family as well. And if it gets down to it, they're not going to be nice about it. They gotta have to protect themselves, and they're gonna have to deliver the law. They're gonna have to make sure that they're safe as well.
So I have another question that was sent regarding to the police profession. So it's from the experience you have gained in this field. What advice would you give to young girls on how to best protect themselves when out alone, with all the negativity in the world currently?
Well, with the amount of information that we get from inside, obviously, every time we are out there patrolling or doing our shifts, you'll be surprised that if I would tell you the percentage of the crime right now it's going on in LA, the city of Los Angeles. Most of us, even me as a male, which I consider myself, strong, I wouldn't even take one step out of my house, because at the end of the day, it's a crazy world out there. They have access to guns, everyone have access to knives and a lot of deadly forces. My best advice to females and males, doesn't matter, I'm not going to make any difference, is to avoid situations that can escalate to a problem as a result. Try to do not get drunk and drink. Do not get drunk and drive. I'm sorry. And do not, if you have to absolutely be out there, take an Uber if you want to drink, or if you want to be out there late night, take a friend with you. It's not going to hurt you. Take a male friend, take someone, let your parents know where you are, share your locations, and notify someone always that, hey, this is my location, just in case. And obviously be careful out there, because at the end of the day, you have to look after yourself, and there's only so much those officers can do out there. But by the time they get to you, God forbid, it could be a lot of bad
things happen in that short time.
Exactly.
So another question I have is, do you still get nervous before a concert? What is the best way for a new artist to put that nervous feeling aside?
I used to be like that, but I would say after 15 or 20 years of experience, I just don't have that feeling anymore. But I used to have that, and that was one of the worst and the best feeling at the same time. Like, that was a love and hate thing. I used to love that rush and feel that, rush right before I was going up the stage, especially with the bigger events. And I used to hate that feeling because, um, you know, it felt like my whole stomach was going in a circle. So, but after 15 to 20 years of work, as I mentioned, I just have, overcome that feeling. So now I'm cool as ice. I know exactly what I'm about to do. So when I go up this stage, I know exactly what I'm facing, and I'm cool about it. I keep it calm.
So just the best way to like overcome that feeling is just it takes time.
It takes time. There is nothing you can do, because it's a reaction. It's a normal reaction. If you hear 10,000 people screaming before you come on the stage, that's just a reaction. There is nothing you can do with it. There's nothing you can control, unless you just become you make your peace with it, and you become more comfortable with it. Some people do drink, some people do, unfortunately they do drugs, because they want to keep it calm. But that is not my recommendation. Absolutely not, because it has other issues, and you don't want to even go there. So my best advice is, to perform as much as you can, and train.
Practice makes perfect.
That makes you build that confidence. It's all about confidence in every job. Doesn't matter whether you're a policeman or an artist. It's all about confidence and knowing that what you're capable of. So when you get up there, you know how to control the situation, how control your emotions, and how control your singing.
So that pretty much sums up all the questions, but now I want to open it up to if anyone wants to ask anything in the audience.
Sure.
So if anyone wants, just unmute yourself. But if not, then that pretty much sums it up. Donya, you want to go ahead and ask something?
What's like your favorite song ever that you perform live?
There is this one song that I did, I believe in 2018, called Fardaye Khub, which means a better tomorrow. Fardaye Khub, that was released in 2018. That's one of my favorite songs for some reason.
Is it just, does it have like a special meaning or purpose behind it?
Right before I had the composers writing me that song, I was a little bit on the downside of my life, emotionally, mentally, and that song helped me a lot to come up again and basically start my work again, and it got me back to my feet again. So that song means a lot to me.
Anyone else want to ask something? Manager, do you want to ask?
Hi, Pouya John.
Hi, Manish John.
Aziz.
I love you.
I love you too. Thank you so much, Pouya John, for
Of course.
I really appreciate what you done. She's a sweetheart, so hard for school and student, and I admire you.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate you trying to get me to basically have this beautiful Zoom meeting with all my beautiful fans.
Respect you, and hopefully people, they can listen to you and learn. You are a hard worker, and you are very, 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 very talented with excellent voice.
Thank you so much.
I love your voice, and I cannot wait for the concert.
Thank you. And you're my favorite lady in this town.
Thank you, Azizam. Thank you. Love you, Azizam.
I love you too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, if no one else has any questions, then once again, thank you for joining us today. I hope everyone learned something new.
Thank you,
maybe
Kenna
future
John.
officers or singers.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much. It's been a privilege to spend this time with you and to have this very خودمونی chit chat. And I hope to see you guys all in the very short future in one of my maybe shows or concerts soon.
For sure.
Yeah.
Right on.
Okay, so
thank you.
Thank you once again.
You guys take care, be safe out there, and all my love and respect to you guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Kiana.
You're welcome, Khaled.